walking on my way to class this morning, and I was by Academic Plaza, and it was crisp outside and beautiful. And out in the distance, instead of hearing the Aggie band, I just hear a soft but present Marcel Reed. And I got chills.
Hi, everyone. This is the Aggie Gameday Extra Podcast. I'm senior Texas A&M sportswriter Travis Brown here at KBTX alongside chief meteorologist Max Crawford. Maxwell, how you doing, buddy?
Good. You came in real excited there.
I got to get the energy up. I got to get the energy up. Your lower. I don't have your lower third pulled up on here because it's been a while
you're clicking
since you've been here. So that's who you are right there. That is
me.
You.
For those listening, it's me. It's me.
Over there, we're joined by Alex Egan. Tyler is on assignment today, so we pulled in the rotational player.
Yeah, I feel pretty good because I did this in Max's absence last week. I did this podcast, and I pretty much nailed how that game was going to go against Missouri. So I feel like I've earned my stripes here.
I was nervous.
I
was very nervous.
And you called a defensive score.
I did,
and you were 2 yards short. Yeah,
2 yards short of my defensive score coming to fruition.
I want to start out with this because this was a question, and we'll just briefly touch on this. And I know it's probably I didn't warn you about this early, so it might take a second, but we'll just breeze through this. The question was posed to a group chat I was in last night of your top 5 favorite TV shows, and it just got me thinking real nostalgic. Like, we don't have to do top 5.
Yeah, can we do 3? 5 is a lot.
Yeah,
3.
You can even just do 1, like 1 or 2. But
we can do beyond 1, but 5 is too much.
Well, yeah,
let's do 3. 3 is a good number.
Okay, Alex, go for 3.
In no particular order.
He's got him. He's got him ready to go.
Mother,
I knew that was going to be 1.
Scrubs.
I could have guessed that one too.
And for the sake of time, I'm going to go with Psych.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
All comedy.
What?
And that's fine because it's probably going to be.
Max, you want me to go? Or you want to go?
You can go.
Okay, I'll go ahead and go 5 because I was part of the conversation. Number 1, Shoresy. Number 2, The Newsroom. Number 3, Letterkenny. Number 4, this is my one nerddom, Doctor Who. And number 5, this is my little obscure one, The Leftovers on HBO. It's a very good show. The one where everybody disappears and you don't know where they went.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very good show.
I remember seeing things about that. I definitely never watched it. You have it. I am looking at the amount of blue on that conversation. You had so much there. You had like 8 honorable mentions.
Yes, I did.
You came so ready with this.
Yeah.
I see Friday Night Lights.
The Young Pope, The Righteous Gemstones, Peaky Blinders,
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is
Ted Lasso, Community, True Detective Season 1,
Okay.
Friday Night Lights, Broadchurch Luther, Alias, Mr. Robot, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Sure, I'm
That was
fine
my
with all
full
those.
list.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with all those, but I think those are fine.
I like a good comedy and I like a good thinking show.
Okay. Shoot, man. I mean, like the number
Ken Burns, The Civil War.
number 1. If you know me, if you have talked to me more than 15 minutes, you probably know that my number 1 is The Office. That's not going anywhere. I don't really expect it to go anywhere as long as I'm alive. And then, like, I don't know. I'm pretty easy to please. I am going to have to say, despite the way that it ended, I'm going to say Game of Thrones is number 2. And I'm a book reader as well, just so that we're clear with that. Not that it matters if you were or not. But I'm kind of toying with like Mad Men / Succession /
so good.
Like I'm toying with a couple of more drama series.
Ended horribly though.
I liked
the last
I
season.
liked how it
The last
ended.
season was not fantastic, and that's why I'm not picking Breaking Bad at number 3 because I did not like the last episode of Breaking Bad. I liked.
I'm 5 episodes into Breaking Bad right now.
Okay, I won't spoil anything. I will just say the last episode of Breaking Bad I loved. The last season of Breaking Bad I could not stand. If that makes it all makes sense at all. But I think number 3 I'm just gonna have to say Seinfeld.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that's just what I'm.
Was it you that brought up the shows that have the like best finales?
Okay, yeah, this was a newsroom discussion that I brought everybody in on that they didn't want to be a part of. But to me, the best series finale is what was the series finale of Scrubs before they got a money grab
okay.
and did season
was it
9?
Yeah, I was going to say 9 or 10.
So I think season 8 is where they ended Scrubs. It was perfect. Bill Lawrence, who was the show creator, also created Ted Lasso and Spin City. He was the showrunner of that. He is actually the one who kind of tears down if you've seen the end of Scrubs, the real what should have been the end of Scrubs, it tears down the sheet that all of his memories and future memories are projecting on, and kind of says a little something to Zach Braff, the main character, and it is a full circle moment because like that's how the show starts and it's how it ends. Like how the series starts and ends is right out front of Sacred Heart Hospital.
It's always fun to see continuity that goes from start to finish because so many of these shows are written. I mean, a lot of them I'm sure are written with the end in mind, but like a lot of them, man, you're just trying to get another season.
Well, and How I Met Your Mother is a classic example of that, where like you do meet the mother in the second to last season finale, and then the last season was just kind of a money grab. I think they were paying everybody too much that they couldn't really. The whole season takes place over the course of 3 days.
Yeah,
at the wedding, and it kind of puts a black mark on what was otherwise a terrific series.
Yeah,
I think Community has one of the best finales. It's a very good finale, even though but all these shows, especially the network shows, you're talking about like that one, they lost like 4 of their main people by the end. Friday Night Lights was a great one, but it went through that writer's strike where there's like it gets wheels off
Friday
for a season.
Night Lights was
Brooklyn Nine-Nine survived the pandemic, but they had like the weird social distanced masked episodes. That they had.
Can I say
pandemic there?
And if there's a buddy of mine, Parker, who I think if he's going to hear this, he's probably going to get very upset with me. I don't think Friday Night Lights was a good show. I liked it, but at no point did I sit there and go, man, this is a great show. There were a couple of great moments that I think were done well with explosions in the sky music and slow motion and like kind of capturing the emotions of a small Texas town and stuff like that. So like the themes were there, but I don't think it was very well written. The characters I think were good. But to me, it was just way too all over the place.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a good show.
I think for me, who started career doing a lot of high school reporting and stuff like, and being in and around high school football, like all of these characters, it's a little melodramatic, and all these characters are caricatures. But you see that person and you go, I've met that person. I have met Buddy Garrity before.
Yeah.
I have met Coach Taylor before.
And I knew the Tim Riggins of the world.
Something, there's something familiar about that when you've like, oh, that's such and such from my high school or whatever, that you're like, okay, this is fun.
Sure.
Well, let's go right into like some A&M
Let's go
stuff.
right into it. We've been talking about
let's go right into
we don't want to waste anybody's time.
No.
Don't waste any time.
No. Let's go right into the headlines. So A&M comes in at number 3 again in the college football playoff rankings. Me and Tyler broke that stuff down a little bit last night. My overall take from that was I don't think it matters if you're 1 through 3 in the playoff. As long as you stay 1 through 3, you get the bye. You're not playing number 5 like you mentioned last week. I think that's perfectly fine. And because of the Mac Rhodes' explanation, especially the one about how they didn't seem to really value the win on the road against Missouri because they were playing the freshman third-string quarterback, I don't know if A&M has enough meat on the bone left to move up. Because all 3 teams, I believe, still... Well, Indiana, I don't know. I don't feel like there's enough meat on the bone left for them to move up, especially if Texas loses another game moving forward.
I mean, and we could argue about that because it's not up to us, and there were some questionable things said about about us being at 3 versus 2. I happen to think if we win out, then we could jump them to number 2. But I mean, it's a top 4 seed. Like that before I start to rant about anything else, I think is what is most important here. But a lot of people had a couple of pretty good points, and you've got it here in your article on the .com. Tell me that A&M's 3, and then just tell me, you know what, the overall body of work for Indiana just looks a little bit better. They had a more marquee road win. Their defense looks a little better, which he mentioned also. But I'm quoting him here. Conversation about Missouri. Missouri, really good team, but probably not the team that they've been. Starting their third quarterback, a true freshman. That's a really, really tough spot for that young man. Maybe because of the team that he's playing. Indiana finding a way to win for Mendoza, the second-rated quarterback in passing efficiency. Those were all conversation. Like, you need a better answer than that because everybody, all the Aggie fans are going to immediately dissect that and say that did not make sense. You need to expect a question like that about 2 versus 3 when one team goes and handles at the time ranked team on the road, regardless of their opponent. And if you knew that they were going to have a backup quarterback, why did you rank them, first of all? Second of all, versus another team with a fired coach who barely hung on, needed a miracle to win that game. Again, it's 2 versus 3. That's fine. You can still tell me that Indiana has the better overall body of work. I get that. But the reasoning that he gave makes me go, well, that's just BS. Like, you were not ready for this question, Ed. You're just BSing us at this point. So that's not fair. We need more consistency, even if it involves some sort of AI program. This is where I would actually support a little bit of AI and statistical modeling and stuff like that. Go. I just wonder, like, if Ahmad Henry was UTSA. Ahmad Hardy. If he hadn't have gotten that breakaway run in the second half, would we be having this conversation when the game was already like? They had a couple of big plays on us, yes. But the bottom line is, regardless of who the quarterback was, we held him to 7 completions.
If you go by that quote, I don't think it mattered what the style points looked like in the game. A&M they needed to win, and they weren't going to gain any bonus points for that win because of that. Going by the quote, I don't agree with the quote.
Sure,
going by the quote.
Okay, that's fine.
This is great because it inspires discussion like this, and that's what the college football playoff ultimately wants, right? They want people talking about their product. It's the NFL mantra, right? It's, as long as you're talking about us, we don't care.
Yeah.
But the college football playoff, ultimately, these top 4 rankings mean diddly squat right now because it's going to be the SEC champion at 1, the Big Ten champion at 2. You can make an argument that one of those is going to
probably the losers at 3 and 4.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think very likely,
whoever's playing if you get to the conference championship game in the Big Ten or the SEC, you've guaranteed yourself a first-round bye. Like, there's no way that you could swing it that a loss to a team ranked higher than you will knock you out of that top 4, right? Because it's going to be Indiana, Ohio State. They're on a collision course for the Big Ten championship, correct? And it's going to be A&M in Alabama or A&M in Georgia, in some way, shape, or form, if everything holds to fruition here. So I think that get to the conference championship game, and then it doesn't matter because you're going to get that first round bye. There is no way that a non-SEC or a Big Ten team is in the top 4, and if you make your conference championship game, there's a very little probability. I mean, there was that one year that Alabama snuck in because they didn't lose the SEC championship game, but you can't do that with a 12-team playoff. It just doesn't work that way. So
yeah,
you're going to get a first-round bye if you make the conference championship.
If Alabama loses the Iron Bowl and Georgia loses to Texas or something like that, and it really gets kind of shaky there, I think you could see some additional shuffling around. But yeah, as it stands right now with the way seasons are looking to wrap up, which a lot of things happen in November.
Oh yeah,
I completely agree with you that the conference championship winners are going to be 1 and 2, and very likely the conference championship losers are going to be 3 and 4, unless that other conference championship loser happens to have 2+ losses,
or it was an absolute butt whooping in the conference championship game.
And really, what we're looking at, barring something crazy happening, is the team that I think is really eyeing that top 4 seed that could try to sneak in, assuming chaos happens, is probably Texas Tech. And so if you're a Tech fan, you are rooting for all of the chaos in the SEC especially, but really even in the Big Ten. I mean, admittedly, I don't even know who Indiana has left on their schedule. Maybe they lose to Purdue.
I figured Purdue Wisconsin at home this week, Purdue on the road.
So, I mean, what if they lose to Purdue? I don't know. But anyway.
Wisconsin's just coming off a ranked win.
Yeah, big time.
I think mostly. Now, if you're a fan of chaos, we talked about this yesterday. If you just love chaos in college football, you're a Pitt Panther fan.
Yeah.
Because they have Miami, Georgia Tech, and one other the ranked
Notre Dame. They have Notre Dame this weekend.
Left, and they could be the ultimate chaos agent when it comes to the rankings.
I don't think that at this point, like, I don't think that Pitt beating Notre Dame at this point would keep us from moving. It would make us move down in our overall body of work.
No, I don't think an opponent loss hurts.
Yeah, I don't really think so either.
No.
I think we're past that point.
Yeah,
and
I think only your losses can hurt you now.
Yeah,
I just think where we're sitting, we've got wiggle room, and I don't know a lot of Aggies who are mad at 3 versus 2 just because. I think they're mad about it because of the reasoning that was given more than anything else. And I do think there are a couple Aggies who would say, well, I think we ought to be number 1. The bottom line is it's a playoff bye. If we take care of business, there's still a lot of football to be played. So to me, and maybe this is just a little bit of BAS in me, I'm just kind of happy to be there. I don't know that that's BAS. I think that's just kind of like, this is new territory for me at this point in the year.
I think if you're in the top 4, if you're, like we started this off with, if you're in the top 4, you're fine.
Yeah.
Especially the top 3.
I mean, I would argue top 5 because that 5, I mean, 5 is difficult down the stretch, but the 5 has got, I think, one of the best draws to begin with.
Lest you forget, though, last year, all of the lower seeds won in the first round. And now there's a lot of different things that happen with that, because Arizona State was a 4 seed.
I was going to say,
happen this year.
Right, exactly. I think that
State
alone
was a 3 seed. That's not going to happen. But all of those lower seeds won.
Yeah.
In that second round.
Yes. Let's move on to. We can kind of just brush through these a little bit, but Marcel Reed debuts his self-proclaimed nickname of the Gingerbread Man
just in time for the holiday season.
You can't catch him.
Yes.
What do we think about the? It's funny. I think maybe this is a little bit of us old heads and Gen Z on the social medias, but I tweeted out that video of him talking about that, and the response from a lot of the Gen Zers was chills. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm getting goosebumps from the Gingerbread Man.
Okay. We need to stop right here, and I need to just update you guys.
Oh, okay. Please educate
on the
us.
zeitgeist.
Educate us.
You were not replied with chills because of the Gingerbread Man moniker. You were replied with chills because it was about Marcel Reed. This whole chills and chants thing is something I don't know where it started, but highlight videos, like anything mentioning Marcel Reed whatsoever, has either come with now replies of the word chants, CHANTS, or chills. And they're interconnected here. Talking about Marcel Reed chants, and somebody setting a scene saying, man, I was walking on my way to class this morning and I was by Academic Plaza and it was crisp outside and beautiful. And out in the distance, instead of hearing the Aggie band, I just hear a soft but present Marcel Reed. And I got chills. So again,
maybe he should do my
job.
These
things are interconnected here. So it has nothing to do with the Gingerbread Man. It has everything to do with Marcel Reed.
I'm going to use that as the cold open for this podcast.
Do whatever you like. I'm just telling you that is how I understand it. I may be getting a couple of details wrong, but that's the way that I understand it.
Yeah, okay.
But gingerbread, if I am HEB, Kroger, Hobby Lobby, whatever,
local bakery,
and I'm also increasing inventory of gingerbread houses and the kits and stuff like
and
that
those
because
gingerbread man costumes.
Yep.
Now, if A&M goes out and loses one of these games, how much are you going to see the You're a Monster with the gingerbread legs cut off from Shrek?
Quite often.
Who's the team? I would not put it past Texas on Black Friday to just have like a gingerbread man, and if they pick him off or whatever, that's the celebration on the side.
Oh, it absolutely would be. Yeah. He has opened up a Pandora's box.
If there was still Missouri on the schedule, we know Missouri enjoys a bit.
Yeah.
So Scooby Williams was out last week. He's kind of been in and out due to injury. He continues to improve from that injury. We believe it's the same one suffered at Notre Dame. He kind of came back for a little bit, played some at LSU was out last week. Amaj Reed Adams was out also in the second half last week, and Mike Elko said he's fine for this game. And then we'll move on to A&M men's basketball. Drops their first game at Oklahoma State. Man, that team needs to figure out how to play some half-court defense.
And not turn the ball over.
It was a rough go. We talked to players and Bucky today. They said that half-court defense has been like the sole focus of practice the last few days, and they have another power conference matchup against UCF this Friday at Reed Arena.
Get to Reed. # get to Reed.
So,
because, I mean, it's not really surprising. It's a little disappointing, obviously, but this is kind of what we figured we would get with a hodgepodge assembled team that is still
for sure.
Exactly. And I think that could very well be one of those games where you like throw away the film, other than like knowing what we need to focus on from here on out, and say, let's forget about that.
And a hodgepodge put together team that plays like a wild style of basketball,
right?
So that you're going all out in full court defense, and then it's probably pretty easy. And they kind of admitted it's pretty easy to sit back in the half court and kind of like take a breath a second. But that's when you get teams driving on you and scoring like they did, and a team that relies on the 3-pointer that much.
Yeah.
Like there's just going to be some nights that they just don't hit shots.
Don't fall.
Yeah.
I will say though, I think that what's important for Bucky and this team, as much as it's the team figuring out Bucky's system, it's Bucky figuring out what he's got too, right?
Yeah.
Like as a coach, you've got to know what players to play in what spots and like what their strengths and their weaknesses are. And I think that's hard to identify in a couple weeks of practices and a couple games against lesser competition. So to play a team like Oklahoma State, a power school, you kind of learn a little bit about yourself. And I think that's what this first month and a half, really all of the preseason is what they call it in basketball, right? Even
sure.
though it's not.
Yeah.
It's
right.
regular season. But pre-conference season should all be about, because, again, just like we were talking with football, get yourself into the tournament, you've got a chance. It's like that with basketball, too. Get yourself to your conference tournament, and you've got a chance, right? It doesn't have to be an auto bid to get you in power conferences. But
yeah,
all you got to do is get hot in, late
right
February.
time. Yeah.
And Bob's your uncle.
There you go.
Over 40 years ago, my parents started C&J Barbecue, and today we continue to honor Dad's legacy with the best barbecue in the Brazos Valley. With locations on Harvey Road, Southwest Parkway, and our newest location on William Joe Bryan, we carry on our family tradition of serving up award-winning barbecue, sides, and desserts. We also offer delivery, catering, as well as custom menus and private chef services. Come visit us today for some of the best barbecue around. C&J Barbecue. The C is for Chip, the J is for Joe, and the barbecue is for you.
Well, let's get into the gridiron this weekend. It's the hated, the dreaded, the Eastern Conference crossover rival of years past, the Bonham Trophy. It's South Carolina. Texas A&M comes in as number 3, as we said. This game is Saturday, 11 a.m. on ESPN. It's gonna be an interesting one, because this was the game that it made A&M slip up last year, but this doesn't look like the same South Carolina team as last year.
Yeah.
This was where it all started to unravel for A&M last year, right? This game, which we knew was going to be tough because it was on the road there at South Carolina at night, like that stadium was electric. It was electric on TV, I'm sure, as you were there, Travis, that it was an awesome atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
They were ready to beat A&M that night. And this was the game that Le'Veon Moss got injured in, and just kind of changed the trajectory of the A&M offense last year, where they weren't able to overcome Le'Veon Moss's injury. This year, they have been able to overcome Le'Veon Moss's injury because they do have backs that are a little bit more. We've seen with was it E.J. Smith? We've seen Jamarian Morrow come on a little bit. We've seen Ruben Owens have big games. We've seen Terry Bussey Jalen, what's his name?
Jamarian Morrow.
Jamarian Morrow.
Amari Daniels. And E.J. Smith. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're there. You're there.
There you go. I'm just spitting names. I was
sure.
really
there's a lot of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of them in the stable.
There is.
But that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Is that there's a lot of them, and they're able to handle the fact that Le'Veon Moss is not an option. So I think that it's while it's the two kind of the same teams, right? We see LaNorris Sellers, who did
Nick Harbour.
He was awesome against them last year. It's different. And I was trying to think about when A&M played a running quarterback earlier this year, because that's what LaNorris did last year, was hurt A&M with his legs, right?
Well, it was Jalen Green at Arkansas and Talon Green at Arkansas, and he did a number against A&M in that game. But let's go ahead and look at here at LaNorris Sellers and kind of some of the stats he's put up this year, because he finished the season last year with over 600 rushing yards. Well, so far this year he's only at 158. He's been banged up. He's been injured at times this season, but so far this year, 61% completion percentage for 1535 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, 158 yards on 117 carries. Just not getting that same running production from him as last year. And so much of it last year wasn't necessarily like him going out there and just, burning past guys. It was breaking out of tackles. And there was a lot of times where A&M had the guy there and had him in the backfield, and he just, wiggled his way, really powered his way out of it and into the end zone.
There is a point probably about 6 weeks ago now, maybe even more than that, towards the beginning of the season, when we were just kind of looking at the conference slate, and I can remember saying something to the extent of, I'm really, really glad that both Florida and South Carolina are at home. I still think that. I'm still grateful for that, because I think spooky things can happen at Williams-Brice, especially if it ended up being a random night game, something like that. A case in point, Auburn last year, and the other time we went to the Plains before that. Like SEC night games on the road, like even if they were 3-6, if we were away, I would be a lot more spooked about this game. But it would be for the same reasons of last year. Is like we don't know how easily we're going to be able to bring this dude down. You did mention that maybe he doesn't quite look quite as springy as maybe he did last season. But I also look at this game, and last year the biggest reason that things kind of fell off the wagon beyond Le'Veon Moss is because we already had that loss against Notre Dame. And so that makes you that much more thankful about that road win against Notre Dame going into this, because even if the absolutely unthinkable happens and we somehow lose this game, we are still right in the thick of everything, which the week after that South Carolina game, we said the same thing. Granted, we didn't know how much that loss of Moss was going to hurt. We feared. But we were also still in the running for Atlanta. And then the hope was, well, if we get to Atlanta, maybe we can work our way to a playoff appearance, or if we just take care of business against Auburn, this, that, the other. Like, it's so much different of a setup this year. And I think even with them being 3-6, it's not going to be, oh, this game is over after the first quarter. I don't think. We very well could prove on Saturday, like, okay, this team is ready to take that next step and just obliterate all of these opponents with losing records who think the season is done and stuff like that. I don't think that's the kind of South Carolina product that we're going to get early in the game. I do think that it is going to be something where we either get really close to covering or we just cover because we wear them out at the end of it. But like I said, I'm very, very happy that this is an away game, because I don't want any of that mobile quarterback presence at Williams-Brice this year. Mm-hmm. And again, 3-6, yeah, but you saw what they almost did to Bama at Williams-Brice, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not a terrible team as far as talent is concerned.
Williams-Brice has proven a little bit of a fortress over in those last few years. Let's look at a few of the stats that stood out to me. Total offense, A&M, and total defense are vastly better. South Carolina's defense is stronger than their offense. They're ranked 127th total offense and 47th in total defense. But here's a few interesting ones. Sacks allowed, A&M were 8th in the nation. They've only allowed 0.89 sacks per game. I believe they had one against Missouri. That was the first one since Mississippi State.
Yeah.
A few games earlier. South Carolina is 131st in the nation, averaging 3.78 sacks per game. That is something, especially for the big, powerful runner that LaNorris Sellers is kind of talking about, maybe how he doesn't quite have that same power as he had last year. Turnovers gained. Well, first off, let's look at turnovers lost. South Carolina has lost 13, has created or had 13 turnovers in the game. That's 85th, but they've gained 16 turnovers, which is 18th in the nation. So they actually are above zero in the positive numbers in turnover margin, despite having turned the ball over 18 times, which is 85th in the country. A&M is 0 at 8-8 in both of those. So South Carolina could be prone for a turnover, but they're also really, really good at ball hawks and getting interceptions, getting fumbles in that situation. That one, it makes this game a little bit interesting, and would probably even make it more interesting, like you said, if this game was out at Williams-Brice.
Yeah, and I tell you what I immediately think of is that play against Auburn as we were trying to put it away, and that bobble off of Terry Bussey's hands that went straight to an Auburn defender and was essentially a touchdown.
And
so it's like
took
even
a game that always felt like it was in A&M's control and kind of made it a little interesting.
Which I think that's kind of nightmare scenario for A&M this Saturday. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I think it is worth pointing that out. I will also say, we talk about total offense and things like that. There has obviously been a change at offensive coordinator. Shula was fired, and I'm South Carolina fans are thrilled about that. To me, I would be a lot more concerned about that if that was something that happened in like late September, early October. I don't know how many more wrinkles you can throw into a playbook at this point in the year, and especially looking at the way that offensive line has handled pressures. I don't think that's going to be fixed overnight either.
I counterpoint. South Carolina's coming off an open week.
Sure.
So we saw what A&M could do coming off of an open week. We've seen it twice now this year. They've been really good coming off an open week. Now, South Carolina, just looking back at their schedule, their losses, with the exception of the Vanderbilt game week 3, where this was a team that was ranked in the top 10.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They were ranked in the top 10, and now they're
that was one of the ones. When you talk about
start of the year, right?
Right. Yeah.
The loss to Vanderbilt at home was bad, but they've kept their other losses relatively close, right? So they lose by 9 to Missouri. They lose by 10 to LSU. The Oklahoma game, again, that one kind of got away from them. It was a 26-7 final. Lose by a touchdown against Alabama. Ole Miss is a 2-score game. It's 30-14, right? So there's 2 scores and two points, but still, it's not like they're getting blown out of the water here, right? And they're keeping these otherwise good offenses down. The most points that they've given up in a game, 31.
Yeah.
Right, to Vanderbilt, and we know what Vanderbilt's offense can do. This is bringing up a lot of bad memories.
Yeah.
This, as we see video of Le'Veon Moss getting carted off the field from last year, this defense does really well at keeping these offenses from finding the end zone. So I think that's give them an extra week, right?
Sure.
They got to see more of the exotic looks that Mike Elko likes to throw on defense or this offense, which was just a wildly refreshing from Missouri postgame, from Drinkowitz and from their offensive lineman, who was like, yeah, we got they knew what we were doing. Like, it was crazy. And then when they didn't know what we were doing, we didn't know what they were doing.
And Elko, when he asked about that, said, yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, no, I'm not
and,
sure.
And Tori Nork said, that's just football.
So coy. But the bye week, I think, plays in South Carolina's favor. Open week, plays in South Carolina's favor, that they get to see, 1, self-scout, and then 2, they get to scout what A&M likes to do. And now that we are into November, there's a lot of film. There's a lot of film to go on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any what are we thinking? What are the predictions? What we got here?
I'll let Max go first.
So I kind of alluded to this already. I do think that this is going to be a game that, like a lot of these conference games, it's been a little frustrating at first. You're kind of like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And then all of a sudden, like, at some point in the second half, you go, oh, I get it. And we just kind of pull away. Like, I have no reason to believe that it's anything different than that. Unless we just come out all cylinders and we just start to blow them out. Like, I don't think this is going to be a close game going into the fourth quarter. So I've got us somewhere around like a 35-15 or 35-14 type of victory again. Like I think the spread, which was 17.5 at open, I think it's now closer to 20. Yeah. I think that's about right. I think that's about how much we're going to beat them by. And I think I might have tried to say this about Missouri, is that they would score a touchdown late that would make it look a little better than it was. I could absolutely see that happening with them. LaNorris Sellers still makes me very nervous. Yep. Their offensive line being bad does not mean that he is bad. And I do think that he'll escape a couple of times, especially early on. I think Harbor is somebody that we absolutely have to key in on and things like that. And yeah, there's going to be some new wrinkles, maybe even in slide protection, that's going to make the getting a sack a little bit harder and stuff like that. I just don't know that that's going to be enough to overcome this team, who is not going to take this team lightly, especially considering what happened last year, right? And they asked Tori and York, I think they asked Marcel this too. How does it feel like knowing what happened last year against this team? And I think they both said, yeah, it's personal. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, they're not going to come out flat against this team. Yeah, it's an 11 o'clock kickoff, but they're back at Kyle for the first time in like 5 weeks. I don't, and barring something just going absolutely off the rails, a massive injury or just a really bad day at the office for Marcel, I just don't see any way we lose this game.
Yeah. I don't see this one as being close. I think A&M's offense A&M went up against a really good Missouri defense and put it to them in the second half. This isn't nearly as close as good of a defense as South Carolina. It's at Kyle Field. I'm thinking like 42-15 A&M.
Yeah. I was going to give us the 40 piece, but I do think that their defense will hold us to a couple more field goals than I would like.
I like 35. So because Max said 35, I'll take 38-10.
$1, Bob.
But I also think that Marcel Reed plays very sparingly in the fourth quarter of this one.
Interesting. Okay, well, we're going to close this out with some national news that is kind of around the SEC, and that is the final penny was pressed today in Philadelphia. And so my question, especially for you, Max, because you are a former student, that is, did inflation finally get to the cost
Seems
of
like it.
Good luck for a test?
Yeah. So those pennies are going to be a little bit more coveted now. But it's still worth it to get some good luck. But do you put
a nickel down? Do you put a quarter down now?
So it's funny that you mentioned the nickel, because and I have no idea how widespread this was, but I had heard from one person who heard from another, and then all of a sudden, you know how Aggie things work, all of a sudden something's just a tradition. But we would also put nickels on James Earl Rudder. And again, if you go and walk by that Rudder statue right now, there's probably not going to be a nickel there. But I wonder if that makes a comeback. All of a sudden, you just start seeing a little more nickels there. So and we're getting close to finals. And I've got some
bad timing.
I've got some Atmos students who have told me, like, midterms are over, and so now it's just kind of a dead sprint to the finals. So I'm hoping these guys can get their pennies. Maybe we should go out there with a bag of pennies and hand them out to those poor students.
Did I know our resident Northern Colorado alum of here? Was there any on-campus good luck traditions like that?
No.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining the podcast today, guys.
No, but I do want to share the funny story, because I didn't know about this tradition at A&M until I was visiting with my wife, now wife. And she was telling me about all of the traditions that are around campus, and we walked past the Sully statue. And she was like, yeah, so you would put a penny down if you need good luck on a test. And the first time I saw it, there was like pennies, nickels, quarters, and then there were a couple paper bills that were down. And I thought, oh, somebody really needed some good luck on a test, because they're throwing.
Somebody didn't show up for class.
Yeah,
I've definitely put a quarter.
I didn't buy the book, so I'm trying my best here.
Right,
Prof, we're gonna try this.
After you use that money, that loose change to buy a Scantron, you just put the rest on Sully.
Yeah. If you remembered to buy a Scantron,
right? Which I never did.
TCU has a little, it's actually kind of big horned frog statue in the middle between like the dorms and the thing, and you rubbed its nose.
The Hypnotoad.
You rubbed its nose.
He had a giant bear statue. It was called Northern Vision, and it stood out front of our student center. but I don't remember if we had. I don't recall there being a tradition
of give the bear a little pat on the butt.
Yeah, I was going to say, was it
a good game?
If it was a black bear.
We were discussing in our group chat earlier, we're brown bears.
Oh, brown bears.
But all encompassing because we were the bears.
Sure.
So all bears
are welcome.
Yeah. But as we were discussing in our group chat this week about the academic standards of the University of Northern Colorado, a pulse got you in. That was pretty much what you needed to get accepted there. I am very proud to be a Northern Colorado graduate. But man, was it not hard to get into.
I know we're supposed to be wrapping up right now, but that reminded me of the amount of vitriol, and this is wonderful for the sport, and it's especially wonderful for the sport in the state of Texas, and I can just see the high school classrooms of kids who are into college football just like going off back and forth between Tech and A&M and Texas, and like even to a lesser extent SMU and stuff like that, but like We not only have been talking about strength of schedule and why is Texas back in the top 10 and Tech should be higher and A&M should be this and that, a little bit of academic vitriol too, like especially between the techies and the A&M people. And the
about which school is harder to get into? Or?
Right. And, I think we know the answer, but I think it would surprise you how much the academic standards of Texas Tech have actually gone up in the past several years.
I did not have Tech defender Max Crawford on the podcast today on my bingo card.
The only nice thing that I will say about Tech, because
about
I do not wish them success, but one of my good friends asked me today, because he was like, Tech in the playoffs. I was like, I don't want them in the playoffs. I want them to lose. And he was like, well, what about parity and stuff? I was like, sure. With Arizona State, with BYU, Utah, totally. Kansas State, Oklahoma State, I don't care. I don't want Tech in the playoff. And he was like, well, would you rather Texas be in the playoff than Tech? I was like, of course not. Obviously not. But I don't want either of them in the playoff because I hate them both. And that's why sports are beautiful. And I love you all. And if I tweet something bad about Lubbock, I don't actually mean it. The people were very nice to me in West Texas.
He does.
Yes.
Okay. I do have to circle back to our last bit here about the penny being gone. Everybody saw the coaches, the high school coaches that had to meet at the gas station.
Right.
Yes. What are they going to flip now?
I don't know.
Well, I think they flipped a quarter. I don't think you flip a penny.
Or a commemorative coin. Maybe.
They have a minted.
Yes.
Look, coins are on their way out. What are we going to do? Are we going
to
be robbed?
There's a coin flip app. Or you just
we
ask
cannot.
ChatGPT to give each team a number.
Which team should
that's how it's going to work in the future.
God bless high school football in Texas.
There's some sort of joke in here about playoff selection with the quarter and then No Country for Old Men. And what's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
Well, and also the coin toss
well done.
in a Friday Night Lights episode. So we come full circle
we're
back here in the podcast.
The best show ever created.
The best show ever created.
Is that Aggie Gameday Extra Podcast?
Yeah. We have 5. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for joining us this week. Thanks, Alex, for rotating in here for the Tyler Shaw. We will be back with Aggie Game Day this Saturday. First time in a long time. So he'll be there, too. Be sure to check. Well, I guess we haven't. Real quick.
Yeah, it's gonna be warm. You're gonna roll up being like, it's a November game at Kyle. I can't wait to put on my jacket. No, don't put on your jacket.
Shorts and polos weather this week. So be sure
to
hydrate.
Yep.
Stick with
the 11 a.m. kick. Hydrate.
Mm-hmm. Gotta hydrate.
Stick with the weather cast with him this week, so you'll know what's going on there. And we'll have all kinds of stuff on KBTX.com leading up to the big game this weekend. So. For Alex and Max, I'm Travis. This is the Aggie Game Day Extra Podcast. We'll see you next week.